At one time, the term national security meant protecting the nation. The very words invoke Cold War-era chills of massive fleets of bombers, fighters, ships, and armies stretching from pole to pole, all facing outward. Today the term has been lost in the muddied waters of transnational terrorism and stateless actors piling onto the global stage like extras in a Godzilla movie. Two agencies once charged with protecting the nation were the NSA, National Security Agency, and the FBI. Their mission was to monitor adversaries and foil plots against America. Not so today. Instead, the agencies have lost their way and have now embarked on a mission to protect their turf instead of protecting the U.S. homeland. The recent terrorist attacks are a public relations foil, a ploy played by the FBI to carry out its long-desired agenda to feather its electronic monitoring of America. We are told that we have nothing to fear as long as we have nothing to hide. This argument, according to Edward Snowden, is as flawed as being against free speech because one has nothing to say. The FBI is not protecting America with plans to ban hard encryption. Instead, it is protecting a long list of bench sitters and desk-bound police who do little but look at computer screens. This is not the way to foil terrorist plans. Nor do the laws the FBI wants to impose in America stop the terrorists from using secure means to communicate. The most recent information from the Paris and Brussels attacks indicate that the two most popular ISIS encryption programs are both made outside the United States. Thus, banning U.S. encryption will do little more than open a new venue of cyber attack against America. We are told that banning encryption will make America safe, but in fact such a ban will render our nation powerless to stop terrorist hack attacks. The centerpiece of any ban is the implementation of backdoors into all encryption. We are told that no real study has been done on how to make backdoors work, and that we can embark on a Manhattan Project to accomplish this feat. We are informed by highly ranking politicians that backdoors have never really been examined by a committee or commission. We are repeatedly fed the pre-digested factoids that backdoors have never been put in place before, so why not try them? All these contentions are wrong. Backdoors were studied and rejected by some of the most intelligent minds in the American government. The culmination of that studious rejection was put forth by NASA Administrator Benita Cooper, who turned down backdoors for the agency computers on the grounds that one breach could make the entire space program vulnerable to attack. Houston, forget that other thing. We got a real problem. Benita's point was quite clear on this fact. Backdoors are not vulnerable because of technology. They are vulnerable because bad people can find them. In fact, a recent NSA backdoor is a prime example of why the design is too dangerous to consider, as predicted by Ms. Cooper. Any commission studying a backdoor concept must review the full facts behind the Juniper backfire. Juniper is perhaps the most dangerous event in American cyber warfare history, and it is not over yet. This particular hacking event was caused by a secret backdoor designed by the NSA. No one outside the agency knew that there was a backdoor in the design. It was the perfect secret. In fact, the fiction was so complete that the secret backdoor was made a security standard for all U.S. government agencies and adopted by corporations under the guise that it was completely safe. The intent was to allow the NSA to monitor foreign banking transactions. But the result was that this backdoor bit the very hands that created it. Someone else either found or was tipped off about the backdoor inside the Juniper communications equipment and replaced it with a bad guy key lock. This reverse hack locked out the NSA and allowed the enemy into the very heart of undefended digital America. Juniper was remade into a devastating weapon by an adversary who twisted it against America. In short, our government created the means for others to attack us. Go figure. We still do not know how many U.S. government agencies, top secret laboratories, stock markets, financial institutions, and major corporations that were hit by the Juniper backdoor. There is no question that the monster created in an NSA lab was turned against us. The conclusion is that we are still vulnerable because the backdoor was so vast and so wide open that the unknown hackers may have installed other secret backdoors into the heart of the government and banking industry. Pathways not yet found. The Juniper backdoor was created with the honest intention of protecting America, but instead it was turned into a dangerous weapon weapon against us that may still be active. The ongoing investigation into the Juniper breach is being done in total secrecy because of both the sensitive nature of the nasty beast and the many heads that will roll if the news were ever to become public. If Congress is going to hold a commission on encryption and they do not discuss the Juniper event, then they are not only lacking in their duties, but they are assisting in covering up the most dangerous digital attack on America ever undertaken. This attack was made possible by our own failure to recognize the dangers in a backdoor design. The disaster was created by the NSA acting under orders from President Obama. It may not have been his idea, but it certainly had his approval. Juniper was to cyber warfare as a mile-wide asteroid is to global extinction. Our nation could have been destroyed in a single night. Ironically, the Juniper backdoor may have cost more lives and done more damage to America than 9/11, and we may never know it. We do not know how many secret weapons plans were stolen, how many military units were ambushed, how many spies were assassinated, how many billions were wiped off the stock markets, or how many people were blackmailed by the vast treasure trove of information that Juniper gave our enemies. The scandals of the OPM hack, which lost 20 million records, and Hillary's unsecure email server pale in comparison to the Juniper backdoor, and yet we have the FBI director clamoring for just such a design in all U.S. computers and cell phones. Clearly, the FBI director does not understand that these doors will be found, disclosed, breached, and eventually turned against us. However, the Apple fiasco is starting to enlighten the director to the ways of bad security design. His law enforcement agency is interested in investigating crime and has offered its own backdoor into the Apple iPhone to local police embarked on drug investigations. The FBI director is aware that his backdoor into the Apple iPhone will not last forever, nor will it remain secret. Nice though this anti-crime effort is, the fact remains that making several million people vulnerable to hack attacks just so one can bust a kid with a garbage bag full of pot is not good policy or common sense. Which brings me full circle back to national security. It is in the national security of the United States to make itself as invulnerable to cyber attack as possible. Strong, safe, and powerful encryption is the perfect solution toward that national security goal. It is in the national interest to dispose of the current crypto war against the security industry of America and cease talks of backdoors and bans. We must assess the damage done by the past failed efforts in the light of day and press ahead towards a secure future. The political class, both Republican and Democrat, had better come to this conclusion if they want this nation to survive. Congress must make the so-called Encryption Commission study the Juniper event. Only then will they realize that backdoors are a prescription for cyber suicide.